How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dave, where I show you how to build automations and AI agents. Sorry I've been away for a while, just a lot of things have been going on, but it's good to be back making videos again. And today I'm going to be making a video that's not N8N related, but it's still automation and AI related. So with all the buzz going around with Openclaw, I wanted to make a video showing you how to set it up, but not just that, also set up some security so that you're protected and you're not exposed to external people trying to access your Openclaw instance. I'm sure you've heard a lot of horrible stories of people getting their API keys stolen or their accounts accessed. We definitely don't want that to happen, so I'm going to show you how to set up Openclaw securely using one of my favorite tools, which is Tailscale, which puts all your devices in their own virtual private network. So even if they're on different locations, different networks, they can still talk to each other through a tunnel, essentially. And then the way that we're going to set this up is that we're going to isolate that. So we're going to use Openclaw on a separate computer. Now, you definitely don't want to put it on your main computer. All right. That's definitely what you don't want to use. You want to use a separate machine, separate computer, isolated from your main computer, and then have that protected so that only certain devices can access that computer. Now, if you want an extra layer of security, you can use what is called a virtual private server, which is a VPS. That is a server on basically a cloud service that you can pay to use. One popular one is Hostinger. I can quickly show you how each of them can be set up. In this tutorial, I'm going to be using an old computer with Ubuntu Linux. I'm going to be blowing it up later, so I'm just going to do it for this purpose of the tutorial. But if you want that extra layer of security, a VPS is definitely what you want to be using as well. It just keeps your server isolated from your home network, so it's completely outside of your home network as well. And we're going to be using Tailscale, so it can still talk to it, or your device can talk to that server securely and privately in its own VPN. I'm also going to be setting this up with Telegram, so I'm going to be showing you how to set up a Telegram bot so you can control your Openclaw instance with your Telegram account. So even if you're not at your computer or SSH into your server, you can still communicate with Openclaw on your Telegram. So if this is something that you would like to set up, keep watching and I'll show you how to get everything put together. Okay, so super quick, I'm just going to show you how to set up your Linux server with the two different options. So one of them being the VPS option. Now, the best service I found, at least browsing around, was Hostinger. And it's the one that you see most often with these tutorials. You'll see Hostinger, and for a good reason. They just have the best prices for what you get. But anyways, if you go to hostinger.com, you'll be taken to their main site right here. You're going to select plans and prices. And right here, you're going to select VPS. VPS hosting. Now you have the different options here. You can just pick the plan. And if you go choose plan, you're going to see for the pay period, depending on what you get, if you just do this month for month, you're going to get a higher price. $10 a month. For 12 months, it'll be $7 a month. And then if you go with the 24 months, that one stays at $7 a month, but just keep in mind you're paying for the whole term. So for example, if you pay for the year, you're going to pay up $83.88 up front, but that comes down to $7 a month. Whereas if you just go month for month, it's $10, and I think it renews even higher after that. It ends up being $17.99. So just keep that in mind. If you're doing this month to month, you're paying $10 a month right away, but it's $18 right after. It's similar to the 1 year. It's $83 for the first year. After that, it's $215 for the second year. So just keep that in mind when you're picking the pricing. It does go off of a promo price when it's showing the initial payment, but then it goes off to the regular price after that promo is done. So just remember that. And then also just one thing that I wanted to point out, I know I've stated that I'm in Canada. I've shown a lot of prices in Canadian dollars. This is in US dollars, this pricing that I'm showing you right here. Okay, so when you pick your plan, you're just gonna pick Ubuntu, just pick the latest one, hit confirm, and then continue. You're just gonna set up your billing. So I'm just gonna sign in here with my test account. All right, you put in your billing address and all that, and then you continue off after you make your payment. After that, it will give you a command, like a public IP address that you can use to remote into your VPS. And the way that will work is you're just going to go into a terminal. You're going to go SSH root at, and then you put in the public IP address that hosting get sets up for you, and then that's how you get into your Ubuntu server. Now, following the tutorial, you're going to see that I'm in a visual desktop. You don't need that. Everything I'm doing is within the terminal, so you can continue on from that after you set up your Hostinger VPS. Now, if you want to do the physical setup like I did, then you need to go to ubuntu.com/download/desktop. You're going to click on this download. It'll take a long time because it's a very huge file. Once that's finished downloading, you can use something called Balena Etcher to make your USB key. All right, so this is what it is right here. So when you click on Flash from File, you're going to pick the ISO file that you downloaded. This one just says Linux Mint, but I'm just going to pick that as an example. You select a target, you're going to pick the USB key. I don't have one plugged in, but when you do, you just select that. Once you've done that, you click on Flash. This part takes a while as well, and then you'll have your USB installer. You stick that into the computer that you want to use. You boot off of it, whether that's F12, F8, or F2. Just check the manufacturer which option it is. And then once you've done that, then it'll take you to the option where you want to boot off of. You boot off of the USB key, and then you're taken to the Ubuntu installation. It's the standard installation. Go next, set up your password, and then you'll be taken to your desktop, and from there you can follow along with the tutorial. One last thing I wanted to point out, if you're using a Mac, then you would press and hold the option button as soon as you see the Apple logo, and then once you see like a loading bar, then you can let go of the option key. It'll ask you which device you want to boot off of. You select your USB key, and then just like the other Windows computers, you'll be taken to the Ubuntu installation. Follow the process, set up your password, and then you'll be taken to your desktop. Now, one more thing I'm going to add is all the Linux commands that are going to be running. They're all going to be on a Medium article that I wrote, which basically goes through the same setup that I'm going to be doing today. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. You can follow along. That way you can just copy and paste the commands instead of pausing the video and typing it out. It just makes it easier for you to set it up. And then whether you're using VPS or your own computer, as long as you have Ubuntu, all these commands are going to work. All right, so now going into our Linux desktop here, we're just going to open up Terminal, and then we're going to install something called OpenSSH. Before we do that, I'm just going to update all my packages. If you're using a VPS, you don't have to do this part, installing OpenSSH, that is. So this is mainly for the people running on the desktop. So I'm going to run sudo apt install OpenSSH -server. This is so we can edit a file that I'll show you how to edit later. Just run the installation, hit Y for yes. It's going to take a couple minutes here to install, or even less than that. All right, perfect. So just finished the installation here. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up Tailscale. So I just copied this command here. This is the command to install Tailscale. Again, copy it from the Medium article. I'm just going to run through that installation. This is also just going to take a little bit of time. So we'll let it do its thing here. All right, excellent. Now it's going to tell us to run this command, which is sudo tailscale up. So we're going to run that right now. Type that in. It's going to spit out, sudo tailscale up --ssh. Now, once you've done that, it's going to give you this URL here to log into Tailscale. Now, for this tutorial, I'm just going to create a new account. I'll show you how to get that set up. So I'm going to be using a test Gmail account. So if you just copy this URL and just paste it into your browser, it's going to take you to a page where it allows you to connect to your account. So paste that in there. All right, so this is where you can sign in with Google, Microsoft. I'm going to pick Google. I'm just going to put in my test account right in here. Hit continue. Once you're authenticated, it's going to take you to this page asking if you want to connect this device that you're on. So I'm going to hit connect. Login is successful. And since this is the first time using this email address for Tailscale, it's going to run me through just one step here for the setup. It doesn't matter what you put in here. You can just put whatever. So it's going to select any option here for the drop downs. And then hit next. Once you select next, it's going to take you to this page right here. It's going to show you your Linux machine and the IP address. Now the next thing we're going to do is go to the device that we're going to be using to connect to this server. So I'm going to go over to my Windows machine and set up Tailscale over there. So let's go do that right now. All right, so on my Windows PC here, you can get Tailscale by going to tailscale.com/download if you're on Windows or Mac. It has the installation for either one. I already have it installed, so I'm just going to go to my taskbar here, open it from there, and I'm going to sign in using the same email address that I used to set up on the Linux server. So once you put in that email address in there and authenticate with your account, it's going to show you the same page as the other one, asking you to connect this device. So I'm going to click on connect, and it says successful. Now what you're going to see next is going to show you the two devices, and you're going to see these 100 IP addresses. These are the private or the IP addresses in the private network, only for your two devices. Now I was recording simultaneously on the Linux computer. You're going to see the Windows one pop up. There it is. Now you can see that they can both see each other on the Tailscale network. Now this is great, but they can still talk to each other on my home network. And then if you're using a VPS, you can still use the public IP address. What we're going to do is isolate it so that they can talk to each other only on the Tailscale network, so that only devices that are on this 100 IP address with your Tailscale account can talk to your server. So just adding that extra layer of security and isolating it. So we're going to go ahead and do that next on our Linux machine. All right, so going back into our terminal here, I'm just going to clear all this. Or before I do that, actually, I'm just going to put a command here just to test to make sure one more time that our Linux server can see our devices. So there's the command for that for Tailscale. It's just going to be Tailscale status. So I'm going to type that in. Tailscale status, and then as you can see, it sees my Windows PC as well as the IP address, and it knows that it's a Windows computer. So that's good. I'm just going to clear this all next. Perfect. Now this is the file we're going to be editing. You're going to put nano/etc/ssh/sshd_config. It'll take you to this file right here. Now this is where we're going to have it, so it only listens to the Tailscale IP address when taking in SSH requests, basically when someone's trying to SSH into the server. So if you go down right here, just scroll down, you're going to look for a listen address. You're going to remove the pound sign or hashtag sign to uncomment it, erase the 0.0.0.0 address, and we're going to put in the IP address from Tailscale. So go back into this window right here where it shows you your IP address for your Linux server. You're going to copy that IP address. Now you're going to go back into your terminal where you're editing that file. You're going to paste in that IP address. Now that should be all in this file. Everything else can be left as the default. I think it should be all good from here. Just going to quickly scroll down here just to go over everything. All right, everything looks good. So I'm just going to leave it as a default. In order to get out of this file, I'm going to press on Control X or Command X if you're on a Mac. It's going to ask you to save, so you're going to hit Y and then escape, and it'll take you back into your terminal. Great, and we're back into our terminal here. We're just going to clear. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new user. Now, this is where you want to install Openclaw. You don't want to use the root user or your main account. You're going to set up a separate account and then give it privileges to install things. So I'm just going to put in sudo add user, and then I'm going to give it the username. So here I'm just going to put Dave YT. It's going to ask for the password. Type in your password. You're not going to see the cursor move, so don't panic if you see that. It is working. It's just not showing you what you're typing for security purposes. And then just hit enter for all these. Hit Y for yes, for make sure everything's correct. And your new user is created. Now, the command I'm going to put in here, again, this is in my Medium article, so you can copy and paste, but this is going to give the user account privileges to install and make sudo commands. So sudo usermod ag sudo username. Once you've done that, now I'm going to log into that user just to make sure that everything's all good. All right, so put su-username, type in your password here, and then right here, it's just going to give you the reminder, put in sudo. And as you can see here, it shows the username in the prompt with the host name of the server. Okay. Now, before we get out of here, I'm just going to restart our SSH for the commands to take effect. So just restart that. Again, commands in the Medium article, sudo systemctl restart SSH. So now that that's done, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go back into my Windows computer. I'm going to SSH from there and make all my changes remotely from my Windows computer and continue on the setup from there. So I'm just going to switch over to my Windows PC. All right, so now that I'm here, I'm going to SSH into my machine. So I'm going to go into the Tailscale dashboard, copy the IP address of the server. Now I'm going to open up a new terminal and I'm going to put SSH. And I'm going to put the username, the one that we just created, so Dave YT in my case, @ and then paste the IP address in there. If you hit enter, it's going to say, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Just hit yes or type yes. And now it shows the prompt on my Linux server. And it shows the terminal as if I was physically at my Linux server, but remotely from my Windows PC. Now that we've done that, we're going to install Openclaw. You're going to go to openclaw.ai, and then when you're here, just make sure you click on this change button. This is going to change that one-liner for Linux computers. So you just want to make sure that it says Mac OS Linux, and as you can see here, it changes it for the one-liner for Linux. So click on the copy button. I'm going to go back into my terminal where I'm SSH into the server, paste, and then press enter. This will start the Openclaw installation. Now, after I put in my password, it's going to start that process. This is going to take a while, so just let it run, let it do its thing, and then it's going to go through basically a step-by-step process for setting up all this, the skills, your LLM that you want to use, the chat function that you want to use. So in this case, we're going to be using Telegram for the chat, and then it's also going to go through a section where you configure the personality. So I'm going to show you how to do all that after this installation is complete. All right, so the installation is done. It's going to go through this part where it says starting setup. So this is the step-by-step process that I mentioned earlier. I'll show you how to set this part up and what to select. All right, so it's going to ask you if you're sure that you understand that this is powerful, and you just hit yes. For onboarding mode, I'm just going to select manual. Local gateway, you just press enter, leave the default. Hit enter for workspace directory. Now it's going to ask you for the model. Now, right here, I'm just going to select Google. You can select whatever model you want and then use the API key that you have set up. In my case, I'm just going to select Google for using Google Gemini. So if I make this selection right here, I'm going to pick Google Gemini API key, and it's going to ask for my API key. Now I'll show you quickly here how to get that. I've done it before, but I'll show you one more time here. You're going to go to aistudio.google.com. Now, this is the dashboard where you can create your API key, manage your API keys, show you the usage, which I'll show you later. But I'm going to click on Get API Key right here. As you can see, I have one here. I'm going to click on Create API Key. You're going to give it a name. Just name it anything related to the project that you're working on for organizational purposes. This is all just a demo that I'm going to blow up anyways, but I'm just going to give it a name here. YouTube Demo Feb 2026. All right, now right here, I'm set up with a free tier because this is just a test account that I'm using, but just copy, and then you're gonna paste it right into where it says enter Gemini API key. Once you've done that, you're just gonna scroll down and select the specific model. Now, if you're using the other Anthropic or OpenAI, is gonna ask you which model, just like this. So for me, it's gonna show me all the Google models. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to select Google Gemini 2.5 Flash. Now again, I'm using the free tier. I'll show you what happens if you're using the free tier. But right here, the gateway port, you want to write this down. It should be the same as this, 818789, but write it down. I'll show you later why. For gateway bind, just hit enter. Gateway with token. Tailscale exposure, I'm going to select off. And then for the gateway token, I'm just gonna leave it blank and press enter. Configure chat channels now. You're gonna click on first, choose yes, and you're gonna choose Telegram. Now here, you're gonna create a new bot, and I'm gonna show you how to do that next. Now you're gonna hit enter. It's gonna ask for the Telegram bot token. I'm gonna go over to the bot father, and I'll link that in the description below. But here are all the commands you can put. I'm going to choose /new bot. And then right here, it's going to ask me what I want to call it. This can be anything. So I'm just going to give it any name. I'm just going to name it Smith. Now it's going to ask you for the username. Now this does have to be unique and one that no one else has taken yet, which can be a little bit frustrating. You're figuring out the name. So if I choose Agent Smith _bot, as you can see, it's taken. So you're gonna have to try to choose different ways of naming, giving a username to your bot. Most likely you're just gonna add some numbers or anything like that, which is exactly what I'm gonna do here. So Smith, I'm just gonna put 1234 _bot. And this time it worked. So when it does, it's going to give you this access token. I'm going to copy this token right here, and I'm going to go back into my Openclaw setup and put that into the setup process for Openclaw. So you're going to copy this. You're gonna put that into your setup right there, and it's done. It's gonna take you right back into select a channel. Don't worry, that's normal. You're just gonna scroll down to the bottom, and then you're gonna select finished right here. Now right here, you're gonna select yes for pairing, and you're gonna select pairing, which is the recommended. Configure skills now. I'm gonna choose no. I'm gonna skip the hooks for now. And then install gateway service. I'm gonna hit yes. And then just press enter for the default here, which is node. And the gateway service is installed. So once it's done that, it'll run through the hatch process, which is setting out the personality. So just select the default here, hatch into UI. And it's going to go through this wake up process. It's going to wake up your bot basically. And then your bot's going to ask you some questions on how you want it to behave, how to call you, or what to call you, other questions like that. I'm just going to give it a really basic personality just for the sake of speeding up this process here. So right here it says, hey, I just came online. Who am I and who are you? So I'm going to tell this bot that it is Smith and I am Dave. So I'm just going to type that in right in this little cursor that you see here. Right, so I just put in that it's Smith and I'm Dave. And then it's going to ask me a few other questions. It's going to ask me about the vibe it should have, what kind of creature it is. So I'm just going to tell it that it's a robot and that the vibe should be casual. Now it's also asking me for emoji and the time zone. I'll show you what happens if you don't answer it and you just answer some of the questions. So I'm just going to tell it here that it's a bot and to be form or casual. You are a bot. Your vibe should be casual. Now, it's going to ask me the questions that I missed. So I didn't answer all of them. So no big deal if this happens to you. If you kind of maybe missed the question, it's going to ask you again. So it's going to ask for an emoji. I'm just going to hit no. And then it's going to ask me for my time zone. I'm in General Mountain Time, but just I'm going to put it the same way that it has it set up in EDAN, which was America, Edmonton. I'm sure it knows GMT, but I'm just going to type that in there. Now after this, it's just going to run through, it's going to ask me a couple other questions about the soul.md. It's going to ask how does it sound, or it might ask you something similar like, you know, is this okay? I'm just going to hit sounds good to me. Now I had to step away to attend other matters unexpectedly, so I had to leave. If that happens to you, you can just run the Openclaw installation again. It's gonna just skip all the steps that you've done already. It's gonna take you right back to where you left off, which is pretty nice actually. So you don't lose some of your progress. Now I just put in sounds good to me for that question it was asking me earlier, and then some of these questions you'll see that they're just kind of repetitive. Again, you can fine-tune this if you want, make it more granular. Just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it and just say that, hey, yeah, that's all good. Now it's asking me for any additional changes. I'm just going to put no changes. Again, just to put go through the tutorial, but feel free to make any adjustments if there's anything you'd like to change. Again, it's gonna confirm all these. Again, they get a little repetitive. I'm just gonna say that this is all right for now. This still fits. I'm just gonna put that there. I'm just gonna say sounds good. All right, so now that when it gets to this part where it says no output, you're pretty much done. So from here, you can just type /exit. It'll get you out of the setup and you're all done. Or if you hit /, you'll see other options that'll show up and you can scroll down to exit. But just typing /exit will work as well. I'm just gonna scroll down here, look for exit. Select that option right here. That's going to exit the TUI and you're back in your terminal. Now I'm going to show you something here. If you want to pair Telegram with Openclaw, which we still have to do, you just copy this command. It'll tell you what command to put in. So you put that in there, and then you put the pairing code. Now this is how you pair them. But if you're just finishing up the installation for Openclaw, and then you put this command right after, you're going to see that it's not going to work. It says Openclaw command not found. If you see this, don't worry about it. You just have to close your terminal, open a new one, SSH back into your Linux machine, and then type that command again. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to try that command right there. Once again, this is just right from Telegram. It'll tell you what command to put. Openclaw, pairing approved Telegram, and then you put the code right after, just like this. This time when you hit enter, it'll detect it. And there we go. Now it approved the Telegram sender, and Telegram is now paired with Openclaw. So now at this point, you can talk to your Openclaw bot through Telegram, and it'll be using the API key that you selected for the model that you chose. So if you go back into Telegram here, if you remember, I used the free tier for my API key. So if you're using Google Gemini, just a little side note, you want to make sure that you have billing set up, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. You're going to see that it says typing, and then nothing happens. So that's what's going to happen if you haven't set up billing yet. What's happening is that it's basically just blowing through the rate limit for the free tier, and then it just can't complete it, and it's not going to finish. So make sure you set up billing, and then just check the usage often, just to make sure that you're not, blowing up with API costs. You don't want to do that either. So you want to be very careful and just constantly track that. So if you go to get API key again in Google AI Studio, just click on setup billing. You're going to put your information in there. But if you select on the chart icon on the right, you're going to see the usage limits. So again, as you can see here, it just kind of blew through the limit for the free tier. Once you set up your billing, you can also select billing right here, and then you just put in your credit card information or banking information. That'll take about 30 minutes to take effect, so it's not going to happen right away. So then once that's set up, you'll see that right here, this is where you set up billing. You'll see that then it starts to work. I'm going to replace the API key with one that I have set up billing in the background, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's working. But next I'm going to show you another way to chat with your Openclaw bot, and it's through the dashboard. So you put this command in here, which is ssh-n-l, and then this is the port number I told you to write down earlier. This is the 18789 colon, and then 127.0.0.1 colon, port number one more time, and then you're going to put the username of the account you created in your Linux server, @ symbol, and then the IP address of your Linux server. So you're just going to copy that from Tailscale, and then you just put that in there. When you press enter, you're going to see that nothing happens. That's normal. That's what's supposed to happen. You're just going to see the cursor there blink on another line. So I'm just going to hit enter here. And there we go, exactly. That's what it's doing right there. Just blinking. That's fine. That means that this is running now and we can access our dashboard. So once you've completed this part, you're just going to copy the loopback address, which is that 127 IP address with the port number. So I'm just going to copy that right now. So this section right here, loopback colon, and then the port number. Open up a new tab in your browser. You're going to put that in there, and you're going to be taken to the Openclaw dashboard. Now you're going to see this error message right away. It's going to say disconnected, unauthorized gateway, token missing. So you're just going to have to apply the token into the URL that you just put in here. I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to go back into our terminal, and we're going to basically ask our server to give us that token. So go right into your terminal, just keep that other tab open a new tab where you're SSH'd into your server, and you're going to put this command, grep-n, single quote, double quote, token, double quote, single quote. And again, this command's in Medium article, but you're gonna put a /home/ the username that you created, /.openclaw /openclaw.json, and then I should probably spell that correctly. Put a dot in there. Okay, there we go. It's gonna give you the token. So that long string of numbers right there beside token, that's what you want to copy. So copy everything inside the quotation marks, just like that. Now from here, you're gonna go to the URL that's in the address bar at the top there. You're gonna erase everything up until the port number. So we're just gonna erase everything up to the port number. Now from here, I'm just gonna put question mark token equals, and then paste what you copied earlier, and there we go. The token's been added. Now you can see your chat, so you can see the attempts where I tried to talk and then it didn't do anything. It doesn't give you an error message or anything like that either. So you just want to make sure that you have billing set up. If you're using Google Gemini and you're having this behavior, just double check that. But yeah, this tool is pretty handy. This is where you can see a lot of different parts of your Openclaw instance. So right here you can see there's the different instances, sessions, the usage, and then you can also go over the skills and agents that you have configured. So if you go into skills, you'll see the built-in skills. See a large list of things that you can be added as a skill. So once you've done that, we're going to go into our chat here. Now in the background, I've replaced the API key with the paid one, and I'm just going to ask Openclaw here how to set up a skill. Now once I type that in there, you'll see that it's typing, and then right here it spits out the steps on how to add a skill to Openclaw. So you can do that too. If you, depending on what skills you want to add, you can just ask Openclaw. I'm gonna do this in Telegram now just to make sure that this is working. So I'm just gonna ask you how to connect Gmail as a skill. It's gonna say typing, and you'll see something here in the background on our dashboard. Right there, you'll see the response running in through there as well. So it's receiving the message from Telegram, which is good. And then if we scroll down, there we go. It's giving us some output in the Telegram bot as well, which is pretty awesome. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and once again, apologize for the long time since I posted a video, but I'm gonna be back in the regular making videos again. I hope you found that tutorial useful. If you like content like that, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. If you have any questions or get stuck, as always, please leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to help you out as much as I can and answer any questions that you may have. So once again, thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.